Southern Methodist University versus Miami. Joe, the first time that Miami is leaving the great state of Florida and going into Dallas, Texas. Joe, when you preview this game, how do you see it playing out?
Blake, one thing stood out to me for Miami after they lost to Louisville and then they had this game against Stanford. I felt like they started that game incredibly slow, but it felt like in the second half as they started to really snowball some momentum, it felt like Miami was starting to regain their identity. It felt like that there was a lot more energy. It felt like there was a lot more focus. There was a lot more of a desire to completely finish off the team that they were going toe-to-toe with. Like, I felt like that energy was not present in the Louisville game. They looked flat. And it's troubling that they were flat at the beginning of this game against Stanford, but I feel like that there's a little bit more of an understanding of how to get back to being Miami, the successful version of Miami at the beginning of this year. One thing that stood out to me, we have Carson Beck, only 28 passing attempts. Fletcher, 23 carries. They were far more intentional. And when I went back and rewatched this, it was like Fletcher carry, Fletcher carry, Fletcher carry. And they were just running the ball over and over again. Like, I feel a lot better at the current moment about this Miami team coming into this game because they were more cognizant of establishing the run and taking pressure off of Beck's shoulders, unlike what they did against Louisville. They need to continue to be deliberate. They need to continue to push the pile. Their offensive line needs to start to be more aggressive. The one thing on the flip side of this SMU team has been a bit underwhelming compared to last year. Kevin Jennings has not been as smooth. He's got 8 interceptions on the year. But one thing that they have to be very prepared for, this defensive line is tremendous. They're number 6 in EPA per rush, and they've got multiple guys with ridiculous stats. Isaiah Smith, 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Terry Webb, 5.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. Jeffrey Mba, 6 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. They have a tremendous front seven, and this is going to be a real identity test for Miami to prove that they can continue to impose their will on their opponents.
Well, they better hope that front seven gets after everybody because, boy, their secondary is pure trash.
Oh, yes, it's bad. It's bad.
133rd in the country out of 134 teams in FBS. SMU ranks in passing yards allowed. They're 133rd in completion rate. They're 133rd in the country in passing efficiency defensively. They are 133rd in the country in most passing defensive statistics. Joe, they stink. But you're right. They get after the quarterback at a high level and a guy that doesn't move. You better hope Carson Beck, for everything that it's worth, is able to get the ball off before they get there. You better throw the ball underneath, and you better get the ball to Tony quickly. This team's coming for you. Joe, if you get the ball out to CJ Daniels, to Tony and company, I think Miami rolls here. But I got to be real with you. Man, coming off of the performances the last couple of weeks for Miami and Carson Beck, I know things weren't bad last week, but it still felt a little bit clunky to me. When I look at this Miami team versus SMU, I don't know if I disagree with what you were saying in reference to it, but Joe, you have the worst secondary in the Power Four that you're going up against. Like, literally the worst secondary in the Power Four is what you're seeing this week. You do have some really explosiveness or literally explosive players with Tony and CJ Daniels and company. Just get the ball out quickly. This one, Joe, to me, is as simple as Sunday morning. You better throw the ball to Malachi Tony. That is it. Joe, I'm giving him 15 targets at minimum, and I'm calling it a day. I know what you're saying. Get back on track. Run the football. I get all of that. I'm kind of throwing some of that out of the window. This secondary is horrendous. Get the ball out quickly for Carson Beck. Sure, run the football. It's your identity. I'm not saying completely abandon it, but what I am saying is, how do you look at this SMU secondary and not say to yourself, bombs over Baghdad, here we go?
Miami's 11.5-point favorite on FanDuel, by the way, for anyone who might want to bet on this game. I'm in agreement with you there. It's one of these weird things and imbalances that are kind of complicated to talk about. with a team that's structured like this, where they're very clearly good up front on defense, and it shows with their run defense, but they have been gashed time and time again by opposing teams. One thing that's a little weird, they're only 50th in EPA per pass, but like when you go back and watch some of these games, the Baylor game, they constantly gave up big plays.
Yes.
The TCU game, they constantly gave up big plays. The Clemson game, they constantly gave up big plays. And that was Vizina, I think, is a freshman that they were getting. No, he's not mistaken. Yeah, he's a redshirt freshman. But a lot of the biggest plays in that game against Clemson were deep shots, just like wide the hell open. This is the biggest real test that should be an easy test. And I'm sure that SMU fans will find a way to misconstrue my statement here. Go ahead if you would choose to. Miami has every right to win this game and to win it handily. They're an 11.5-point favorite. If something goes awry and this game ends up being close, you'll gladly take me out of context and claim that I was shitting on your team. Whatever. The point here is that this is an opportunity for Carson Beck to regain his confidence. You're probably not going to find the same level of rushing success that you had against Stanford. You should still try to. You should still try to build the confidence back of your offensive line that was physically imposing, that was really outmanning every single team that they faced off with. Get that group back on track and locked in for the remaining stretch of the season. But most importantly, Beck is going to have openings, and he should be able to take shots. Just, you got to hope that Beck doesn't take the bait like he did, it felt like, against Louisville. He took a lot of bait, man. Like, he really, really was way too...
He got confused. Let's just call it what it is. He got massively confused.
It was what we talked about in the breakdown, where they stopped the run, and then there was this assumption that everything was going to open up over the top, and then Beck wasn't really thinking through a lot of things. Like, he just kept taking shots and like attacking spaces where he thought guys were going to get open. Lo and behold, Louisville was dropped into coverage, and they were covering a lot of space with their DBs and their linebackers. So we need this game to be the get right game, which is absurd to say. You know what I mean by saying we. I'm speaking from the third person for Miami. You understand what I'm talking about. Miami needs this game to be a game for them. I can't believe I didn't mean to say it like that. And I realize how that could easily be misconstrued. I'm trying to frame it from the sense that is how Miami needs to look at it. It needs to be a get right game, which is crazy to say for a game that's against a team that's 5-3.
Notre Dame fans, you heard the we, right?
It wasn't. That is not what I meant.
Boy.
Okay.
No, there's another side of the ball here. On the other side of the ball here for me, SMU has not been running the football effectively at all. They're 106th in the country in rushing, 122 yards a game, going up against a team that has barely allowed 100 yards rushing just in total all season on anybody. Here's the thing that I'd say about this defense for Miami that is a little – stay with me on this. Louisville and Florida in the beginning, I felt like kind of popped them in the mouth a little in the running game. Kind of like, hey, man, we're going to play physical. Miami was fine. Not saying that they weren't. Louisville, you weren't. And they popped you in the mouth. I do wonder if Rhett Lashlee can figure out, though, with Jennings and company and everybody, can they figure out and find the weakness that Louisville did? Now, Chris Bell is Chris Bell. But, man, there's such a massive disadvantage of what SMU tries to do, and especially – and I know they don't run the ball a lot, but when they do, this isn't just a team that's just going to bow down. I mean, this run defense is really good. There's two massive weaknesses for SMU in this game that is very glaring. You have a run offense that just cannot get pushed whatsoever, and your secondary is really, really bad. Which leads me to say this. Every time we do this, I feel like I say this game's not going to be close. There's two massive weaknesses. It finds a way to be in that way. I don't know if it's this one or not. But, man, I can't get over the run game issues, and I can't get over the secondary, and that's why I'm going to pick Miami to win here.
Yeah, again, ultimately, this
blowout.
is...
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going there because every time I do this, I feel like we get shit on.
I know. I'm more so... I don't think it will be. I'm actually kind of surprised with the line being that big. I think that this SMU team has underwhelmed so far this year. And what I was saying earlier is just this: if you're Miami, it has to be framed as this is an opportunity for us to really feel better about our issues. Like that is how that they need to look at it. I know I keep saying we. I'm saying it from their perspective.
You said
that is how they need to look at it.
Man, I gotta tell you, I'm
saying it from their. Okay, if you listen to the opener,
I gotta question your Notre Dame loyalty here.
God forbid a man tries to use. No. God forbid a man tries to use a little bit of like speaking, like tries to be creative with how he speaks and tries to frame perspectives for teams. God forbid. Whatever. We'll see what Miami does.
Golly, Joe. Okay.